Check 1, 2. This is my audio test. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. I'm enjoying seeing where everyone is from. Most recently, we've got Catalonia, Sweden, and outer space. All right, I'm muting this mic again, and we'll be starting up in just a couple minutes. Okay, muting the mic. All right. Well, I didn't realize that was going to happen. I haven't used this setup in a little while. I'm hoping you can all hear me as well as the music, which is about to fade away in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're live. I mean, I already was live, but now I'm really here and I'm looking at myself in my screen that's in front of me and looking at the camera lens and saying hello to all of you. It's been a while. The traditional greeting, of course, on the coding train is a train whistle. I'm going to just take a peek over in the chat. It says, now I hear you, we see you. Okay, so I'm assuming it's all working. I see ITP is in the chat saying choo-choo, the catchphrase of the coding train, choo-choo. So let me just say right from the outright, this isn't your usual, first of all, I don't know what your usual coding train stream would be. But whatever in your mind you think of as the usual coding train stream, it is not what is happening today, because today is a celebration of the end of the academic year here in New York City. I'm not actually in New York City right now, but I will be there tomorrow. I'm broadcasting from the outer skirts, the country life. The wind and the greenery is blowing, the wind is blowing the greenery outside. I don't know what I'm saying. Today is the ITP IMA spring show. And if you've followed the coding train for what is now amounting to many, many years. I don't know if we've really gotten into double digits yet, but I would often do a live stream from the show itself. And today is a little bit different. I am doing a live stream from my studio, my home studio, and then I will be passing the mic. I will be sending you all right into Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, New York, to see the wonder that is the ITP IMA show. And if you don't know what that is, I will start talking about that with a bit more detail in a moment. I'm seeing from the chat that we've got Japan, Ireland, Africa, Tunisia. This to me, I know I say this often, this is what I love about getting to do this channel on YouTube, is to be able to connect with and broadcast, beam out right here from a garage in the Hudson Valley of New York, all over the world, to talk about creative coding and all the things, the magical, fun, wonderful things you can do with code, whether you are a beginner and this is your first time ever thinking about code or thinking about writing a line of code or watching the coding train, or you've been here all along for however many years this train has been in service. It's been a little bit out of service this semester. I do want to use this time to give you some updates about things that are happening in the coding train, and particular about the Nature of Code book, which is something I am actively working on. We've got now Dominican Republic, Syria, Czech Republic, Denmark, and Korea. Out of that list, I've only ever been to Denmark, so I've definitely got to expand my world travel. All right, so this is also can be as much or little of an interactive stream as you like. I'm keeping, whenever I look over this way, I am looking at the chat, and if I catch a question there, you can, I'll try to answer it, as well as there are a few Coding Train moderators who are in the chat who can take a question and place it over here into the Coding Train member Discord. So if you want access to that member Discord, you can also join the Coding Train channel. But that's not what today is about. I want to talk to you about ITP and IMA. So let me switch over here. Let's see if this button works. Cuba, Netherlands, Italy, Basque country. Okay, I'm going to press this. I'm a little out of practice here, so let's see what's going on. I can't find the button left. Here it is. There we go. Okay, I've made myself a little bit smaller. I'm realizing I really need to go for a beard trim. And I've got the my browser opened up here. Okay, so you might know me from the Coding Train, a YouTube channel where I live inside a little rectangle and awkwardly try to communicate with the rest of the world. But most of my time is in fact spent at teaching at a program at New York University. There is a 2-year graduate program called ITP, stands for Interactive Telecommunications Program. There is a 4-year undergraduate BFA, IMA, Interactive Media Arts. There is also a low residency program, which is a 1-year master's, which can be done mostly remote with a few in-person intensives. Hopefully I'm getting this somewhat right. That is called the IMA Low Res program. So if any of those programs are of interest to you, I would suggest heading on over to itp.nyu.edu, and there's all sorts of all sorts of information there. I see it now. We've got ITP, IMA, which is undergraduate, and then the IMA Low Residency program. Oh, there's also this thing called ITP Camp, which I am really hoping to participate in this year. We'll see if I can make that happen. But this is a 4-week creative and cooperative playground, which is all happening in June. So that's coming right up. I think you can even still apply to participate in ITP Camp. So why don't you use Arc as your default browser? Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe I should. I accept your criticisms of my use of Google Chrome. I use it, frankly, out of convenience. Oh, wait a second here. I'm like, oh, I have the, okay, I'm like, why is my shirt red? So, okay, so I know I just went off on a tangent. Welcome to the Coding Train, where I talk about both trigonometric functions like sine, cosine, and tangent, but mostly just go off on tangents. All right. With love from Saturn. Okay, so I have a new setup where I'm using a confidence monitor with this like reflective glass teleprompter setup. So in theory, if I wanted to use a teleprompter, I could. I clearly am not using a teleprompter right now. Otherwise, it would make more sense. And one of the things I turned on is like this setting that shows me if any of the pixels are peaking, I think, like my white balance or brightness. Those of you who are video people know what I'm talking about. And my whole shirt has turned red, which is what I'm seeing in the confidence monitor. But when I look over here to see what's being broadcast to YouTube, it still looks normal. All right. All right. So where was I? Yes, talking about ITP. So first of all, it is about 1 p.m. Eastern time. And if you happen to be in the New York City area, you should just turn this off right now and head on over to 370 J Street, which is in downtown Brooklyn. All the subways go there, to go to the show in person. Let's switch on over to the show website, which I can find at itp.nyu.edu/show. So here you'll see the information about the actual in-person show. Today, it's starting at 2 p.m. So this is just me talking for about another hour. And, maybe I'll do a quick coding demo or something if we have time or if there's a topic that comes up. Default focus confirmation is what Andrew Dennis is telling me. And thank you for your nice comments, Suvik. Today and tomorrow. So if you can come in person. However, don't just show up. You need, in terms of the security system, that way it works at NYU, you'll need to go through and claim your tickets. It's free, but you need to make sure you enter the name and email address of each attendee. So I will be there tomorrow in person, and I'm not there in person today. I'm doing this pre-show. All right, so this is the information about the show. Now, it looks like if I click over here, I can see the show map. Wow, what is this going to take? Where is this going to take me? It's taking me to Figma. All right, this is much too advanced for me right now. We can see the floor and where all the projects are. Ooh, I wonder if we can look at some of the projects. That's one thing we could do during today's live stream. Previous shows, show map projects. Let's go over here. So now we're seeing all of the projects. Wonderful. One of the things I might do is look at the various projects that are part of the Nature of Code, which is a course that I taught this semester and is a project, a well over 10-year project that is really bothering me that my shirt is red as I look. I should probably turn that setting off, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I want to talk about the nature of it. Let me make a list of things. So I want to update you on Coding Train schedule and summer. And I want to update you on Nature of Code. And then I want to review some ITP projects. And we are on a time crunch here. This stream will promptly shut down in about an hour. And if YouTube's live redirect feature works, it will send you right over to the actual ITP live stream. Oops, no, that's not what I was going to. If you look at this video's description, there should be a link to the ITP live stream, which is a separate YouTube event on a separate channel. What's Figma? I am not qualified to answer that question. Somebody in the chat, feel free to answer what is Figma. I will take your questions about processing, P5, creative code, the coding train, nature of code, all that stuff, which you can ask in the chat. All right. Thank you, Ellery Chanin, for answering that question about Figma. All right. What do I want to look at first? All right, let's dive right in, and I'll take questions as we go, but let me give you some updates about the coding train itself. So if you, I haven't done a live stream probably, I think that I did the last one was the January speed run. I can't remember if I covered this at all, but if you haven't taken the time to look at the new Coding Train website, now is a wonderful opportunity for you to do so. I will soon be releasing about a 5-minute video about the new Coding Train website. But just to cover it a little bit right now, here it is. Thank you to the wonderful folks at DSI, Design Systems International, who designed this site. Thank you to the tremendous efforts of the Coding Train community. To name just a few who have been very active recently, Kathy, Deepam, and Francis, who have been doing a tremendous amount of work fixing bugs and expanding the content of the channel, the website that is. Also a shout out to Klein, who is an IMA student, who built this overall structure for this showcase page, which I want to come and look at in a bit more detail in a minute. So this is where you can find the archive of the history of the Coding Train. Not every single video that's on the channel is on the website. If there is a video that's on the channel that should be on the website, please, there is a wonderful process by which you can contribute. But what do I mean? Why does a video have a page on the website? Well, if I go to what is the more popular series from the Coding Train, like the challenges, you'll see that every challenge, I think there might be one missing still, Coding Challenge number 40, every challenge has its own page here. If I were to pick one, I'm actually just going to pick this one that's featured right now, the 3D terrain, and go to it. The reason for this is there is a lot, I'm just amused by the thumbnail, there's a lot of metadata associated with each and every video that is not easily covered by the YouTube interface. And so if you are looking for the code example, it's right here. Description, other references, other related videos, credits for the video, as well as projects. This is now the passenger showcase for this, which are all the projects that other folks have made. Some of these are just so lovely. And I think they're in a random order each time. So if we refresh the page, yeah, you can see they're in a random order each time, as well as some other related challenges of related topics. So this is my attempt, along with DSI and the larger Coding Train community, to, I have over 1,000 videos on the channel. And so to have a kind of one-stop shopping place where you can find the videos as well as all of the metadata and code that goes along with those videos. So, and Deepam in the member chat wrote new with giant quotes around it because, yeah, the website, I don't know how new it is anymore. It's new to me. Lovely A72 is saying, I am coming to Tisch this year. Well, I hope to get to meet you in person. Please stop by the 4th floor. That's where I am. And so, just to look, I just want to go back to the challenges page for a second. Oh, actually, no. Let me pause, time out. Let me go to the tracks page. So I'm showing you, these are the challenges, which are videos which are essentially a single project made in a particular video. If I go to the tracks page, this is where I am cataloging videos that exist as a sequence. Well, let's just use the word collection. So a track, you can think of it as a sequence, and some of them are, the main tracks, which are written right here, are sequences. So if for some reason you just came out of nowhere and are watching me right now on the internet and wondering, boy, I wish I could just start from the total beginning. I've never coded before and I want to learn. That is what this main track code, programming with P5, would be. You can click into here. All the videos are here. If I go to any given one, a very old thumbnail, the code is here, as well as showcase projects that people have made. So this would be your playlist, your track, your collection, your sequence, your course, whatever you want to call it, for learning to code with P5. There are other ones. This one deals with Node and working with APIs. A little bit about Git and GitHub, some machine learning, nature of code. I'm going to come talk about more. But there are also these side tracks, which are loose collections of videos. So if you ever wanted to learn about super shapes, all of the super shape videos are right here. This polar coordinates is not explicitly a super shape video, but it is a necessary math that comes up in the super ellipse, and all of these other particular videos, along with the Mandelbub is in here. Okay, great. And then if I backtrack here. We can see there's some games, algorithmic botany, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that is the, that's pretty much the website. There are lots of other things here like these guides. If you want to like learn about submitting to the showcase or helping maintain the website, getting started is there. I did forget to say Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. And that. Okay, so what did I want to show next here? My mind was going somewhere. Well, let's look at some showcase projects because there's been some new ones. First of all, it seems that we have a showcase project from Kai, who is 9 years old. So first, everybody, round of applause. Let's see if this works. Round of applause for, this is taking me way too long to figure out if my soundboard still works. And of course it didn't work. You're not here. I'm using this software called Loopback, and it's right now causing me all sorts of issues. There we go. All right. There's the applause. Thank you. It's not for me, it's for Kai. So Kai created this project called Cave Generation with Perl and Noise based off of the 10-print video. Let's take a look at this. Oh, cool. I see. So what I'm kind of guessing here, because I didn't make this or I haven't looked at the code, but what this to me looks like is, and Sesame Street Gang is asking what's ITP IMA. So I did cover that a little bit already, but I will come back to that. Looks like here, 10-print is a particular graphics pattern that emerges, this maze-like pattern, when you randomly draw a line diagonally in one of two directions. Like think of an X, pick randomly whether you're drawing this line from the X or this line over a grid. So it looks like what Kai has done here is instead of drawing a line, has drawn a square with two different colors. And it's called, I'm speculating, but it's called Cave Generation because through randomness, you end up getting these pockets of empty, like the lighter spots to me are like empty spaces inside the cave where you could walk around, and the darker spots are the walls of the cave. Now, but I don't think this is pure randomness because it looks like there is a bit of smooth, uniform quality here, which is probably coming from Perl and Noise. And if you don't know what Perl and Noise is, oh boy, do I have news for you. Remember that whole thing about the tracks that I was showing you on the website? Got a whole track all about what is Perl and Noise. Let's take a look at Kai's code, see if my speculation was at all correct. And we can see here there are functions for drawing the backslash and forward slash, which instead of a line is a rectangle. And then, exactly. And some kind of calculation related to Perl and Noise. This is very interesting here. The input into the noise is this mathematical equation based on the XY location, and then checking it against another call to noise. That's a super interesting way. I have to think, it's going to take me some time for my brain to unpack like what the quality of the coin flipping essentially will come out of this way of comparing noise. But we can look, someone is asking, like I can now run this in P5. And if we wanted to look at what pure randomness would look like, and I don't know, let me log in here as the coding train so that we can save this and make some modifications. So let's look at what it would be with pure randomness. So I can just comment out this if statement and say instead, if random 1 is less than 0.5, which would be like the pure randomness version of it. And there, you can see now, oh, interesting. It looks like the spacing changed. The spacing must, the spacing's random each time. Okay, I'm like, why did the spacing change? Yeah, so some great questions happening in the chat, which is, yes, there's a noise. So I don't know if I'm answering the question specifically, but there is a function in P5 called noise. Now, the term noise on its own really means randomness, but noise in the random function in P5 is for uniform randomness. and the noise function is for a smooth kind of randomness referred to as Perlin noise. And if you want to learn more about this, we're going to be talking about the nature of code in just a moment. So thank you, Kai. This was fun. This is great to see this project. Couple of things I might note here. Kai's probably not watching right now, but this frame rate, this of 1000 is not something that will really actually work. This is sort of like the frame rate. I like to say that the argument to the frame rate is aspirational. It is not actually setting the frame rate to a particular value. It is saying, like, I want you, if you can, to run at this frame rate. So in most cases, like P5, I think the default frame rate it's going to aspire to is 60 frames per second. So changing it to 30 would make sense because you're saying, like, hey, even if you could run faster, don't. Just stick with 30. But if there are other elements, the speed of your computer, other things happening in the browser, the amount of stuff you're drawing in the draw loop, are that, like, the frame rate won't actually live up to its assignment. And one thing that's interesting about what Kai's done here is this is generating a static image. So I might actually suggest putting in draw a call to no loop, because this particular sketch just generates a static image. There's no reason to draw it over and over again, in which case, and I'm wondering actually why. Oh, because it's using noise. But why is it not, so this is interesting. Why is it not changing this over and over again? I don't see a call to random seed. A little confused here. Because this should be, just curious, what happens if I do this? It's doing them one at a time. So that makes sense. There was this idea of animating it, and this is kind of cool to see it do it this way. And I can now change that to 60 just to kind of max out the frame rate. You can see it's running a little faster. But why? Oh, I think the reason why it wasn't it wasn't redoing it each time with a new random set of values is because it's moving this global variable x and y, and once it gets to the end, it doesn't reset back. So one of the things I could, if I wanted to, I could say if y is greater than height, I could put this in here. If y is greater than height, then now set y also back to 0. And what this would do, if we can make this run a little bit faster, is, and let's put it back to doing 5,000 of them, but let's just do 50. And we can see now it's doing 50 at a time, and when it gets to the end, it will come back. Sorry, I haven't been keeping track of the chat. I'm looking at the Discord. Okay, as you can see, it came back to the top there. So just to put a finer point on this, let's make the spacing 30, hard-coded as 30, and let's make this just 2. And we can see now I've made a new version of Kai's code where when it gets to the bottom, it will, presumably, as we wait, because the sound is broken still, comes back to the top and starts writing over. By the way, let's just look at it with the lines. I'm curious to see. And we'd have to change this to a stroke. This was not what I meant to do. This happened by accident. Let's take out the rectangles. And let's use the ground color for both. So this is now the 10 print pattern. So you can see just backing into what the original example was, and you can see how Kai now got to this new pattern. One, by changing the drawing to squares instead of lines. Whoops. And then, in addition, writing a new algorithm for how the spots are picked. And we can put the algorithm back in, and you can see we get some pretty different results. Pyro Axo Dragon says, never knew you did live streaming. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm kind of struggling here because I used to do weekly live streams. So the reason why you never knew I did live streaming is because this is my third live stream of the entire year. And it is, the middle of May. So I would like to do more live streams. I'm curious about where those artifacts in the pattern are coming from. Unchained, I wasn't sure. I'm not 100% sure about your question because I was doing a lot of different things and may have missed. I'm looking at the time, 1:20. I might have missed I didn't catch your question at the moment when I was showing something on the screen, so I don't know what it matches up to. All right, let me move back to the showcase. Thank you, Kai. Let's look at. We've got. Let's look at this one. So we've got a showcase project. Right. Okay. So what's one of the things? I should get this box. Hold on. It's on my list. I know I just left the camera view. We can do a little live unboxing today on the channel. So if you tuned into the coding train in 2022, I did a bunch of videos with my childhood Apple II Plus computer, and I would like to do more of them. And one of the things I wanted to do is work with a Commodore 64. Now, the Apple II Plus was a computer that I actually had and saved from my childhood. I did have to order some replacement parts and things off of eBay to get it working again, but it's pretty much it's, for all intents and purposes, it's I like to think of it as the literal childhood computer that I saved for all these years. Now, I did not have a Commodore 64. But I did find one off of eBay, and I purchased it to make videos with it. It's still sitting in the box. Like the ship, I don't even want to tell you what the ship date on this is because it'll be much too embarrassing. Wow. Well, let me just tell you that the ship date is from 2022. Very, very late in 2022. So I'm just checking here my notifications. Perfect. Okay. I'm just looking at information about the ITP stream, which is starting in 30 minutes. And I actually just got a notification about that. All right. So Brooklyn Humanist is starting IMA in a month, coming in knowing nothing. Well, guess what? And Real Cygnus is in the chat. Hello, Enrique. The artifacts came from not clearing the background. You answered. Thank you. I know there's other questions that I'm not getting to because I'm just off on a trigonometric tangent once again. Anyway, Brooklyn Humanist. Great name. Today you will now know about IMA because if you stick around through me chatting a little bit about it, and then if you watch the show, and if you are in Brooklyn, I would say go head over to the show in person. Anyway, there's a Commodore 64 in here. I'm going to open it up. Maybe I'll open it up today if we have a little time, but I'm going to keep moving. So I would love to click on this, but oh, look at this. They made a video for it. This is amazing. I didn't actually know there was an archive of this. Okay, this is awesome. We're going to watch this. How long is it? 4 minutes and 16 seconds. This is now Coding Train Reacts. I have a new channel. It's called Coding Train Reacts, where the whole time I go like this. I don't react verbally. I react with interpretive dance. This is so cool. I didn't realize there was a video archive of it. Coding Train Reacts by liking the video. Oh no, I moved out of the way. Let me just get this comment in. I should really send the music out through the... I don't know why this is not working. There you go. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is not working. But okay. Okay. Fractal 3. Skip to the end there. Fractal 4. Fractal 5. All right, thank you for this. So that's really fantastic. So you can find that. So one of the other things that's nice about the Passenger Showcase, in case you weren't aware, is if you click on a given, oh no, how do I do that? That doesn't work from here. Oh, no. I forgot, we didn't implement this. I thought if you click on the author's name, it'll take you to all of theirs, but I would actually just have to look for it here. But if you search for a particular author, we can see that BTM86 is only submitted this one, but if I go to Kathy, for example, who I know has submitted a lot of showcase projects, so many beautiful ones, we can see all of Kathy's submissions right there. And so, yeah, look at all these wonderful submissions. We see a few different climate spirals came in from the Climate Spiral Coding Challenge. And look at all these, some wave function collapse, some more fractal trees. So anyway, the hope is here that one, this is a way for you to share your work with the community, but also for you to get inspired and see what other people are making. So I think I'm good in terms of talking about the Coding Train website. Let me move on here to some other things because I'm short on time. Okay. I'm going to close this. Let me save this cave generation sketch that we were just looking at. All right, so I did a stream. I believe this was January 1st, 2023. And I made this list. I kind of went through and on the left here that I'm standing in front of, I went through and cataloged all of the things that I did on the Coding Train in 2022. Which made me feel a little bit better because I thought I hadn't done very much, and it was a long list. And then I made a list of goals for 2023. And so thank you to Deepam, who took this whiteboard and put it into a markdown file. And so I wanted to take, maybe just about 5 minutes now, because I have about a half an hour left before I'm going to send you over to ITP, and look through and see what I've got and what I might want to do next, because I was not able to allocate a lot of time to the Coding Train since the start of 2023. I returned back to teaching full-time at NYU, but it is the summer now, and I have a less busy in terms of travel and other types of things summer than I have had in the past. So I'm hoping to, in addition to enjoying the summer and spending time with family and friends, which is something I hope you all will do, I hope to be able to catch up on some of these Coding Train projects, as well as, although I really should not be allowed to until I finish the Nature of Code book. So I kind of, maybe I might make a poll here just to but I think what I really should be doing is I got a lot of work done on the Nature of Code book, and my goal is to finish everything by, I was going to say the end of May, but I think the end of June is more realistic. I probably shouldn't allow myself to do anything on the Coding Train until that book is completely 100% finished and published online and in the publisher's hands for the print version, which I will talk about in a bit. But let's take some time to look at this list. Okay. Yeah, the list was ambitious. So I did do a Pi Day coding challenge. And hold on, let's look at what's on the channel, actually. Oh, and I did a soft body physics coding challenge and a climate spiral. So I do get to, let's hit edit here, and let's give myself some credit for some other things. So I did a soft body physics challenge, which used toxic libs. And I did Pi Day, and then which was Buffon's needle, and then I also did the climate spiral. So I'm going to update that. Okay, great. So I have completed 3 challenges. So that's not terrible, given that my goal was to have 10 new coding challenge videos for the year. And I realized there was a time in my life where I was doing like 3 or 4 coding challenges per week. I don't know how I did that. It's sort of I had a different process then. Maybe I should go back to that. I don't know. But this is a good list, and I think it's a fine list to keep. But I do want to add one to it. So I want to do the Wolfram Elementary CA. So that is another one. And if I do, and priority-wise, I kind of like this order right now because I really want it. This one, I really would like to get the second part of wave function collapse done over the summer. Okay, so that's good. Guests, I want to do more with guests. I've not made the time and space for it. Nebula. So again, today's stream is about the ITP show, so I don't want to be too off topic and promoting my own kind of coding train work too much. But in case you're wondering what Nebula is, if you go to go.nebula.tv/coding train, you will find my Nebula page. Nebula is an independent, creator-owned and maintained streaming service. So if you think about your Netflix, your Hulu, your Amazon Prime, your Max, Nebula is just like any of those services, but the content on Nebula is from education adjacent YouTubers. So it's something that you can sign up for to support the coding train. I made a whole, I'm going to see if this course on it with the Apple II Plus computer. So, but again, I don't want to promote this too much right now. Today, I do want to promote it, but another time would be more appropriate for that. But I do want to mention that because I do have opportunities to create content exclusively for Nebula and collaborate with Nebula. They have a studio and production team to work on making things of a different quality and a different scope. So if you have ideas for things that you think might work with that platform, if you're a fan of Nebula, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But that's what's on this list. Okay, Apple II retro computing. So I have not done any of these, but this is something that I could return to this summer as well. I don't know if I want to focus more on the coding challenges, but I wanted to do a quick example on the Apple II for how you can play tones music. I wanted to look at 6502 assembly language maybe more directly, and then the aforementioned, oh, I hurt my back, Commodore 64, which is in this box right now. Okay. Have not gotten to any of those things. I want to do more live streams. That's just on the list in general. More nature of code videos. Well, the book has to be completed first. So this really shouldn't get a check here. I'm going to uncheck it. I have recorded it. By the way, like if you wondered why you might want to join the coding train, like I think if I go here under live, you're going to see that, like, in case you don't believe me, where did these go? So strange that they're not actually here. Did I just do these like longer ago? I'm so confused. I was expecting to see a million of these like members only streams for the recording the processing videos, and I might just be looking at this in a weird wrong way, but they're not there. Anyway, back to the topic at hand, which was here, is I actually recorded about 6 hours, five hours-ish of a new course about learning to program with processing using Processing 4. The problem is I haven't effectively been allocated, or I just haven't finished all of the editing and post-production that goes with that. So it became a much more complex project than I envisioned. And I think when I want to do the same for P5JS, but when I redo those videos, I think I like having them as separate videos because it's much easier for me to finish and complete a 10-minute video and publish it and put it on YouTube than to put 6 hours worth of all the material into one video, because everything has to be done, before I can upload it. So anyway, that's coming. In the fall, I will be teaching a class at NYU around, maybe they're unlisted. But I thought they would show up they're unlisted, not members only. That Matto 58 is correct. The Discord bot tutorials are coming this fall. Better late than never, I suppose. But this fall, I'm teaching a class called Programming from A to Z, which I should really think about a new name for that class because it sounds like it's a comprehensive beginner programming course, but it's meant to be a play on words in that it's about programming with text. So if you've watched any of my Markov chain or context-free grammar videos, some of the working with API stuff, those are the videos and content that goes with that course. And in that course, we do experiments making bots and generating text for bots. I used to do Twitter. I did some Mastodon. I've been making some Blue Sky bot examples. So I don't know what platform I'm going to use for the class in the fall. I have to sort of see what the landscape is of social media platforms. But a Discord bot is one that I'm pretty committed to doing. And so I need to remake those videos to go along with the course. But I'm also planning to do some content around language models and using transformers, whether I try to use some open source, like there's the wonderful Nano GPT repo that Andrei Karpathy made, I believe, if I'm getting that right, where I can look at sort of training a transformer model with my own smaller text data set. I feel quite conflicted around using large language models, especially closed ones that you have to pay for on the channel, but I've been experimenting with Llama, which is actually an open source language model that Meta has released. There's of course ChatGPT and the ChatGPT API that many of you are probably familiar with. So I'm sort of trying to find where is the line, of appropriateness in terms of education and outreach and empowering others to use these models, but being aware of the biases that are involved in the sort of training of them, the harm that is the sort of risk, the sort of safety issues around how these models can be used and abused, as well as in particular, I'm talking about OpenAI here, the sort of closed nature of the model. So I'm still thinking about that. If folks have thoughts or advice around how to handle that well in terms of video tutorials, I'm all ears. And Fishy is talking about Hugging Face. Yeah, Hugging Face is a wonderful. So the two model repositories that have that in my eyes right now seem to have really excellent communities and resources around are Hugging Face and Replicate. And Replicate has some nice hooks to for training. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much, but that's what I've been looking at. Okay, NOC book we're coming to. It is 1:40. Other things, the whistles were sent out. That is done. I'm going to uncheck this because I have not published it. It's just a little 5-minute. You know how when you go to a wedding, you have a year to give a present? I think if you make a new website, you have a year to release a video announcing the new website. I think I'm still within that window. I'm not entirely sure. I really want to work on the macro data refinement game that is inspired by the Apple TV show Severance. I guess I might say right now that in solidarity with the writer's strike, I am not going to work on that until there's a contract, okay? If you want, the world is clamoring for me to continue working on my fan fiction computer program version of an obscure piece of software that's in the scene in an Apple TV Plus show. I'm sure that's what's going to break the dam here and get a contract signed to pay writers their fair share. Anyway, I will come back to that. And I am making this summer. I've got to put up or shut up here. I'm making a P5JS port reboot version of the original Oregon Trail game that I looked at and played on the Apple II Plus and a few live streams. If you're interested in participating in making this, it's out there. There's a repo. I started it. Just let it linger, slowly dying. All right, 136 concurrent viewers. A little light for a Sunday here. Probably haven't been making videos, haven't been streaming. By the way, the viewership activity on the channel is like at about 50% right now of what it has been, or what it normally had been throughout 2022. I attribute that to my lack of making videos. Also, I don't know whether it's whether there's just more competition, whether it's the topic choice, the sort of branding, thumbnail, title branding, but the last two coding challenge videos did not catch any of the YouTube algorithm waves that a lot of my coding challenge videos have in the past. So in case you missed those, feel free to check them out. Okay. All right. 140. So let's take, I'm looking at my phone here because I've got a back channel chat with the NYU folks. Let's talk about the nature of code, and this is all just good news. Okay. I mean, I could brainstorm other things to add to this list or things that I might want to cut from it, but let's talk about the nature of code. Okay. So a couple things. This semester at NYU, I taught a undergraduate and graduate section of the class Nature of Code. Now, if you're not familiar with what Nature of Code is, I'm going to show you a website that you really should stay away from. This is the actual public active Nature of Code website. What is on it is it has a mechanism for you to download the book as a PDF, EPUB, and Kindle. You can slide this all the way down to 0 and get it for free. This is also a way for you to support the project if you wanted to, if you have the capacity. You can also link to Amazon where you can purchase it. I keep meaning to add, I've been using Bookshop more recently, which I did find it available on as well. So, support independent booksellers through Bookshop is another possible way to get the book. And then the book itself is just online here as HTML, CSS content that you can read for free online. So why am I talking about this? I started this project, I would say probably in 2008. I think that's right. Someone would have to fact check this, when I taught a version of this class. A lot of the material came out of other courses that I had talked about and that I'd taken as a graduate student myself, and other work that I've written about in the acknowledgments. So I want to just make sure I mention that. And probably around like 5 years later, like maybe 2000 or even less, like 2016, 2017, I started thinking about updates to the book based on things that I had learned and thought that I could improve, the changing landscape of machine learning and deep learning. There's a chapter on neural networks that is, woefully out of date and quite possibly quite irrelevant now, as well as using P5.js for the just to make the book easier to interact with and use online. So Java applets not being a thing anymore that you can easily run in the browser, P5 is a nice choice for the book. So I've been spinning my wheels for a really long time about updating it slowly, a little bit here, a little bit there. And lots of people have helped me, and this is a much longer story, but what I want to go to now is I want to look at NOC book, on GitHub. If I go to the nature of code, and I realize I'm standing in front of a lot of this, so let me move this over. If I go to the nature of code organization on GitHub, you'll find a whole bunch of repositories, the existing website, the syllabus for the class I just taught, but the one that I really want to highlight here is Nature of Code Book 2023. And I just want to validate that I have really been working on this by going to, how do I find it? I think I have to click here, Insights. Let's just see. And let's look, what do I do? Like commits maybe would be a good one to look at. And no, where's that graph? Maybe just like contributors maybe is what I mean to look at. Yeah, so you can actually slow down because of the end of the semester, but there's been a lot of work on the book itself, all happening, I mean, really in the last year. So, so what do I mean by work? So if I go to here, a couple things. There have been a whole bunch of people, you can see them here under contributors. Jason Gao most recently doing a ton of this work into building a whole new workflow for publishing the book, which involves Notion and and a whole build system to turn the book into a website. And if I click over here, you will now see prototype work in progress version of the new Nature of Code book. And I want to say that basically all of these chapters are somewhere between 80% to 100% completed, which is very, very good news. That's much further along than I have been at any point during this process. So if I were to just look at one of them, let's pick the vectors one and start to scroll through it. I'll want to just point out a number of things. One is the examples now. I'm gonna just make this smaller so you can see it a bit more what it looks like. The examples are embedded in here, running in the browser. If I click on any given example, it will take me right to the code in the web editor. So this is what I'm talking about the convenience. We've got the written text. I want to see here if with new illustrations. So these are all new illustrations that Xana Marsh, who is a colleague, friend, alum of the ITP program, has been working on. There's some really fun ones that you'll find throughout the book. There is new math notation. So the quality of the math notation that I'm using is much better using, I think it's KTeX is what it's called. So again, embedded examples, and I can scroll through. We can go to a different chapter just to kind of see some more sophisticated. This is one of my new favorite things about the book is the target for all the steering examples is a strawberry because it's delicious and you want the strawberry. So that makes me enormously happy. But as I get further on, the chapters are a little less and less, like there's still some work happening in the fractals chapter that needs to be finished. So this chapter is very much in progress. Here's kind of a fun illustration about factorial. You can see the recursion examples. So this is all available for you to read and look at online. If you want to do so, and if you are doing so, and you have comments, you notice typos, mistakes, broken examples, what I would ask for you to do is file an issue here in the GitHub repository. You, at present, cannot fix content in the book with a pull request. Even though all the content for the book is here, and you could do a pull request to make an edit there, I am doing the work of writing in a Notion database. So these HTML files are auto-generated. And I'm going to show you right now that process, because I just did a lot of work on chapter 9, evolutionary computing, but I did not update the website. So let's make that happen. I'm going to go here to actions. I'm going to run, so there's this action that if I run this workflow, and I'm going to do it right now because it takes a bit of time looking at, we're almost ready to move into the ITP show. This workflow will go, and I don't know if I can easily, I'm afraid to open Notion right now. Maybe I will show that at a future time. But this process is now reading the Notion API, retrieving all of my writing from the Notion API as JSON, and it's converting that JSON into the HTML files. It is also, if you can believe this, and I really can't take any credit for this, you can look through the people who have worked in the repo on all of this code. In addition, it is grabbing any images. So all of the figures and images and screenshots that are uploaded into Notion come into the repo, as well as all of the code. So if I put a link to a P5 web editor sketch in Notion, that web editor URL is gotten via the Notion API, and then we're using the P5 web editor API to get the code to create the embed that's on the page. It's amazing. If I look at that here, we can see this is running I'm just gonna see if we can get like the logs for it. You can see this is the logs right now. This is it just fetching all the Notion content. So it's still and doing that. And thanks Fun Planet for putting everything in. And when this is done, I really hope it finishes in time for me to show you. It will auto-generate a pull request, which I will then merge, which will then rebuild and update the website. So with Gatsby. So this tremendous amount of work and time has gone into this. And the reason why I'm now finally, a couple reasons why I'm finally getting this done. One is thank you to some ITP students who have been working with me on this, as well as ITP alums and other volunteers. And teaching the class this semester kind of focused my energy onto it, as well as, and I'm excited to report that I will be working with No Starch. Just go for the print version of the book. So you might be asking this question like, wait, what's going on here? It was the original version of the book, which is not here. Where is that? Did I close it? I must have closed it. Let's put it here on the Nebula page. And I got to keep an eye on the time here because I think the ITP live stream has started, but it's just playing a placeholder video. I got to send you guys to there, send everybody there too. So the original book was self-published, and this was very important to me because I wanted to be Creative Commons licensed. I wanted to be an open education platform. It was an expensive project for me to produce. So the income from, optional pay what you want online and the print book did help, certainly broke even and probably over 10 years has now well exceeded whatever I invested into it. Although I don't know if you count the time, what that would mean. But there were a few issues with this. One of the reasons why I self-published it was for the open education model. And No Starch Press is, I've been chatting with them and talking with them, is really on board with that. So the book itself will still be, the new version of the book will still be Creative Commons licensed and available for free online. The print version, print on demand is nice in theory, and I think there's lots of good applications for it, but I have a lot of issues with the print quality of the book. People were reporting, you can see like right here on the website, it says, problem with the quality of your print. Like I had to build put a whole thing on the website that was like a separate page to show like what the page should look like, what people were seeing it as, so that I could like keep track of this. and kind of complain or try to get them a new version of the book. The company that I used for print on demand was acquired by Amazon. So I kind of don't want to use it again because, we all have to make decisions that work with our lives. And I am going to have a book that's sold on Amazon, and I do buy things off of Amazon. But I don't like the all eggs in one basket. I do want to support alternatives. And so by working with No Starch, I can have a higher quality book, and I can have it, I can have more ways of distributing it. Plus I have the editing support, the project management support, and they're putting me on a deadline. So I have to finish this. That's really the most important thing. So I wanted to just give you those updates about it. If you want to follow along, oh good, it completed the job, but I don't see a pull request yet. Oh, it's there. So if you want to follow along, Fun Planet posted the links in the chat. Please come and read. If you want to contribute, then come and visit the repository. And the lowest barrier to entry for contributing is like filing an issue. And even if you wanted to file an issue that just says like, I support you working on this project, it's okay that you're not live streaming or making a lot of videos because this project is important. If you just want to say that in an issue, like that's a way of participating in the project. But you can also leave comments. You can read through what's kind of outstanding and that kind of thing. Okay. So this is, every print is unique and guaranteed to be one of a kind. Yeah. Okay. That's Nature of Code, which is a really nice segue to move back to what is the primary purpose of today, which is the ITP IMA Spring Show. So let's look at these projects. Is there a way to search and filter? Let's see. Can I search by nature? Oh, nature of code. Oh, look at this. So now we are now seeing all of the projects from the Nature of Code course, which was my course, and from this semester, and all of these wonderful students. Oh, I'm so excited to see these projects. There might be more that somehow didn't get tagged right, but let's in 5 minutes, I'm going to send you over to the live stream there where the students will be walking around with the camera. Let me just get my chat with NYU going and make sure. What is that sound? A weird sound just started happening. Oh, I forgot to show. Oh, there's so many things. Let me just find my chat here. Okay, we are ready to go live whenever you wrap up. They say, okay, I'm wrapping up. I'm wrapping up. Give 5 minutes, okay? 5 more minutes, okay? All right, so first of all, I kind of forgot, just because I was here, I forgot to show the sort of cool thing about this, which is now it's running the tests, so it hasn't preview built it yet, but you can now see here all of the edits that I have made in the book since the last time the site was published. So you can see a lot of like code things that I've done, and I actually did a lot of work on the genetic algorithms chapter. So if you look here, you can see in this pull request all the things that I've been updating and rewriting for the Nature of Code chapter. So I just wanted to show that for the genetic algorithms chapter. And then, and it finished. Awesome. So now it also built a preview on Netlify. So if I go here, this would be now all the rewrites of the genetic algorithm chapter would be here. And I can see already these new tables that I put in. Oh, I have to fix these. Are there. And I am going to very excitedly merge that. What I usually do is I try to do chapter 9 updates and more. Just change the title. And I'm going to merge this. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to close the loop on that. I forgot to mention that part of my Nature of Code book discussion. All right, now the showcase. All right, so let's look at one of these. I'm going to look at. I'm like I can't pick. I'll just click through all 6 of them real fast. Oh, come on, that didn't let me. No. Okay. I feel like this will be a nice ending to this. Oh, I see. There's also, oh no, it got, okay. Open, why? There's some kind of like JavaScript here that's not allowing me to open in a new tab. So let's pick a random number, random.org. Let's pick a random number, 1 through 6. 1 through 6, and that's the one we'll look at from top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? 3. Okay, we're looking at number 3, which is, wait a second here, they're in a different order. Okay, we're looking at rift formation, the invisible surroundings by Ray. And is there like a video here that I can play? But there's an image here. This is I will just, since I know about this project, I will describe it. This is a data visualization of weather data. And that's, I think there's a much larger conceptual underpinning to this project idea that you can read all about in the description. But you can see these are the kind of projects that are in the show. And so what I'm going to do now, it's time. It's time doing my last 1 minute transition over to you. So what's going to happen if I've set this up correctly? Twitch has like a raid feature for streaming on Twitch. YouTube has, it's so creatively named YouTube Redirect. So when I hit the end stream button on my YouTube interface, it's going to send you to the ITP stream directly. And so I am really excited for you to go there because there will be students who are walking around and live demoing all of the projects from the show. It's going to happen today. Let me see if I go here to the live stream. Oh my God, it's already up with sound. The show itself is happening again today and tomorrow. Both of these will be live streamed. Tomorrow, May 15th, I will be there in person, so you might see me wander across the live stream. Subscribe to the ITP channel, come back to the ITP stream tomorrow, and I'm going to send you there now. So I'll be in the chat as soon as you're all sent there. So ask questions, say hello in the chat. Thank you for tuning into this ITP pre-show. I hope you enjoyed these Coding Train updates, Nature of Code updates. But it's time. It's 2 p.m. We're going to head over there. And here we go. Let's see if this system works, everybody. You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that was embarrassing. All right, here we go. Here we go. Close. Close. Here it comes. I'm going to hit end stream, and I think you're being sent there. Thank you, Silas, for your nice comment. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.